Rob Bayuk. We have our esteemed panel of partner success team. Some of you might recognize folks. They're waving in the little chat or windows, and I will introduce them. We have Emma Berry, if you could wave, Emma. Yeah. April Beasley. I'm going in no specific order. Kristen Daniels and Simone Mijera. And so some of these names may be familiar. If not, the team here is the all-star cast of our partner success team. And the goal is to support those who use Talking Points in their schools and districts. So with that, Simone, if you don't mind popping over to the next slide, the standard webinar guidelines apply. So the two different things in your menu, there's the Q&A. And if you use Q&A, those things go to us at the panel, which is fine. You can ask if you have a specific question that you would not like others to see for some reason, but we strongly encourage you to use the chat, which is the other option, which then all your colleagues and we will see, and we will respond as we can to questions. If you're ever having trouble, reload the app. If you're really having audio challenges, perhaps turn off audio in the Zoom and just dial in using the phone number in the invitation that you received. And you will all receive the recording very promptly and the slides, so you don't have to frantically take notes. And with that, we'll dive right into the good stuff. So thank you again for attending, Simone.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I would love to have an idea of who's here. And as we're thinking about today's presentation, I really want to make sure that we address some of your needs. So what if you could do is in the chat, put your role and then what you hope to get out of our time together. And I want you to note that we are going to be looking at our universal family engagement. Let me come back over here. Solution or an evolution and looking at new features for the 25-26 school year and doing some Q&A. But I would love to kind of get an idea of what would you love to get out of this session in addition to what I have up on the screen. So I'm going to be looking over here and I'm going to be engaging with what you're putting in the chat to make sure I'm highlighting some of these things as we dive into the demo site to look at some of those new features. So when I've been leading trainings and when my colleagues have been leading trainings and Talking Points for the past few years, many times we're focusing on product features, like how to send a message. We want to continue doing that, but we really want to think about how does Talking Points enhance family engagement so that it's no longer just about families receiving messages from you, but it's really about you engaging your families to start using them as the superpower that they are, right? The driving force around really improving student outcomes, and we're building that partnership. So there's a term that you're going to be hearing with us today and in future trainings. It's the universal family engagement. And this is the practice of improving outcomes for all students by fostering effective partnerships with families, regardless of barriers and circumstances. So as I jump into the platform, I'm going to show you how to send a message, right? But I'm going to also talk about what are the best practices that are in place in the platform to help you build dual capacity. This is another term that's important to the work that you're doing and that we're helping support you with. With dual capacity, we're thinking that you are working with parents to help drive student outcomes. So rather than thinking of family engagement as sending messages and wondering if you're hearing back from them, it's really about how are you building capacity for you and building capacity for your families to support your students and support the work that you're doing in your classroom. So knowing that you're not in this alone, that your families are there with you, they're committed with you, and they're that superpower that's going to help drive the initiatives that are happening at your site and in your classroom. So one of the things we're looking at is moving from looking at family engagement as an individual goal, right? Like sometimes I was a teacher for 15 years and an admin. When I kept data on family engagement, it was things like how many parents responded, how many parents showed up. but we're really start thinking about how can it be a strategy in the work that you're doing within your classroom. So one focus that we're going to look at in the platform is capacity building for you, but more importantly, or just as important, for your families. The other thing that we're going to work on is relational trust. So we know that in order for families to really be open to constructive feedback, they need to have that relational trust built with you. And we have some really exciting features that you're going to see that's going to help with that work. And then the last column is the backbone of what Talking Points is, two-way communication. That in order to build that dual capacity framework, that relational trust, we really are going to rely on the idea that there's two-way communication happening in an easy and fluid manner for you and your families. All right, I'm going to jump into a demo site, but I would love to know in the chat, what's one initiative that your school or district is focusing on to drive student outcomes for the 25-26 school year? This is an important question because I want to use those examples as we think about how we're using the platform to engage with families. And if you noticed, I used the word engage rather than message, because that's the point that we're hoping to get across, is really having family engagement. All right, personalized learning. Thank you, Jesse. Student ownership. I have been doing at least 5 trainings this week, and I asked this question. Things I'm seeing are like student ownership around homework, student belongingness, right? Oh, I love that. School attendance, post-graduation goals. I've also had teachers tell me like, hey, this is the end of the quarter. I want to make sure that our families are working with their students to make sure that their grades are up to date and they are going to graduate on time. So one of the things I want to show you before we jump into the brand new features are some of the features that are here for you. And in my trainings this week, I asked the participants, how many of you are using Message Mentor? And I would maybe see about 10%. I want to highlight Message Mentor for you. And I'm going to do this through a direct message. So Message Mentor is going to be an in-app support to help you engage your families with best practices. So I am going to keep the idea of school attendance. No, let's take the first one, personalized learning and student ownership. And thinking about how parents can help support. So we're not just sending a message, but we're asking parents to support us in the work that we're doing. And I'm going to put homework support. I'm keeping it simple. Now, here's the tool that you have for you. You can select Message Mentor, draft a new message with keywords, and our system is going to generate a message with you for you that's going to use that family engagement best practices. It will be personalized, it will be concise, action-oriented, friendly, and within a 5th grade reading level. So if I hit accept and edit, I'm going to get a message as a family or a contact that's going to say my name. It will say, we noticed, and I will see my student's name is having trouble with homework. This can affect progress in class. To help try settling a regular time for homework, please feel free to reach out for your tips. I'm going to show you something else here that's been here for years, but sometimes teachers don't always use it, is if we're thinking about family engagement, what are things that your families can do at home to support the work that you're doing in the classroom? So here's what I'm going to ask them, and this goes to personalizing it, is I am going to ask them, how many times a week are you reviewing grades, or let me say assignments, with your student? Now, what I'm doing here is I'm actually giving them a task. I'm giving them some advice of how they can support. So now I'm not just sending information, but I'm personalizing it, so I'm empowering my families. And they could do every day, 3 to 4 times, or they could tell you, I will start doing it this week. So you have these options here. So what I want to stress is what's currently available to you right now. You have Message Mentor to help you with best practices, and you have a new button that's going to be the Add Merge fields. We know families respond well to messages that are personalized to them. So right here, instead of assignments with your student, I'm going to choose this button and choose the student's first name. And now the family is going to see their student's name when they get this message. All right, let's jump into some exciting new features that are coming out to you. One thing I'm super excited about is Send Kudos. Our research team knows the importance of building those positive relational trust with your families. And there's an easy way for you to do that. You can hit Send Quick Kudos. You have a category you can choose from, and you can actually create your own category. I'm going to choose one of teamwork. I love teamwork, right? We're here together. Now it's going to generate that personalized message based off of best practices. And it will say, I want to let you know that, and they'll see their name, demonstrated teamwork today. Let's collaborate. And they collaborated and compromised well with other students in their group. And now I can choose who I want to send this to. I'm going to hit send, and we're going to get some celebration on the screen. What I'm going to note, what's just as important about this feature is right next to send a quick kudos. You can see the data on who you sent messages to. So if I need to reach out to Isha or Jonathan about some redirection, I have data here of like, have I connected with this family and sent positive messages? If I haven't, I can choose the little bubble right here to send them a message, or I can come back to my home screen and send a quick kudos. So this one I want to do that they helped a friend, and I want to send it to these specific students. I look at my message, I make any edits I want, and I hit send, and now that's documented. One thing I want to note with quick kudos is if you want to write your own message or use Message Mentor to help you with that, you can also mark it as a positive message. So you can generate the message and use Message Mentor and then identify it as a positive message. And then that way it goes into the data that you're looking here. All right. Reinforcing academics at home is super exciting. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to hit get started. If we come back to the beginning of how do we empower our families? How do we give them the skills to support what we're doing in class? This speaks volumes. I am going to select a grade level. Currently, we're supporting K through 8 because during our pilot, that's what we heard this feature can have the biggest impact. So I'm going to select 3rd grade. Then I'm going to put in a topic. I'm going to do fractions. I might even make it more specific of adding fractions. I can paste in a criteria, a standard. I can paste in information that's going to help me with what's being generated. Then I'm going to select generate activity. And what this is going to do is it's going to generate an activity you can send home to your families that they can use to support their students at home. It's taking just a little bit of time, but here we go. Now I have that personalized, concise, best practice message that says, hey, let's make math fun together. You and your student can make a fraction pizza at home using paper or an old magazine picture. I have the skill that I'm giving them. I can hit select recipients. I can send it to all of my families or choose the students who need that specific intervention. And I can hit send. I can't hear you, but I am hoping on your end, I'm hearing a lot of oohs, whoas, because that's what I saw when I first saw this. And when I'm in trainings, this is a game changer for teachers. Okay, let's do this and go to family check-ins. You're going to see family check-ins and reinforcement of academic skills at home and send kudos release sometime this summer. So as you're starting to think about back to school, these are going to be there and ready for you. So with family check-ins, what we heard sometimes from teachers and from families is that staff needs support on how do I engage with my families throughout the entire year. Back to school, we have a lot of information we send, but how do we keep that momentum going throughout the entire school year? And now what you can do is you can choose the time of year. Let's say we're in spring, and I can choose a topic. So I want to reconnect with certain families about assessment prep. I'm going to hit try it. It's going to generate that message for you about best practices. And then I think about who are those students who I know need that extra little boost, who maybe have been working hard, they need that extra encouragement, and I'm going to send a message to those families. And remember, this message is personalized. I'm going to go ahead and hit send. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to start from the beginning so you can see. Family check-ins. This time, I want to go back to school. And I want to send a message about getting to know you. So I'm not just sending them my my newsletter. I'm actually building that relational trust. So now it's saying, hello, families, we're excited about this year with, and they're going to see their kid's name there. We'd love to know your goals for them. Your support means a lot to us. That little sentence right there is going to be powerful for families because they know you're building that partnership. I'm going to use this message and I'm going to go ahead and choose the students I want to send it to. Okay. I'm going to come back to home. There is another new feature that I'm really excited about, and it's called Calendar. So with Calendar, when you come back for the new school year for fall of 25-26, you can select this tab called Calendar. You're going to be able to sync in your work calendar. And there's going to be the first version of this is it's going to allow you to add an event and then invite your families to schedule a time to meet with you. And that can be an invitation that goes to the entire class or group or multiple classes, or it can be an invitation that you're sending to a specific family. So if I hit entire class or group, I want to send this to all my families, and this is our end of year meeting. The location is going to be room 205. I just made that room number up, but that's my classroom. Let's pretend. And then the event description is I'm going to do planning for the 25-26 school year. I want parents to know we're making plans, we're making efforts to make next year successful for them. Then I can come over here and select the dates and times I want to be available to families. So I want them to know that they can choose the date and times that I'm available to meet. And I can always adjust the time frame. So if I want it to be 30 minutes, an hour, or 15 minutes. I can also do this with one family. So the first release is going to be scheduling, but the second release that will be available, and it should be fall of 25-26, you can also share an event. So let's just say at the end of the quarter, I want my families to know when the last day to turn in grades is. So I share that with them. They can see it on their end. And then now you're working together around important dates for their student to be successful in your class. All right, I set a timer for 20 minutes. I have 1 minute left. I am going to pass this over to Kristen. I am covering the teacher new features. If we have time at the end, I'll jump into some new features for school admins and district admins.
Thanks, Simone. Yes, it is a ton of information, and we have a lot of great comments in the chat. I'm just going to make sure you guys can see my screen. Okay, team, is that the right view here? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our Attendance Improvement Plus package that's coming out this summer as well. We are very excited about this. We know attendance has always been a challenge for schools and districts, and especially with COVID. So Talking Points is really excited to introduce this. There are a number of features that come with Attendance Improvement Plus. I'm going to go over them. You will get this recording, and I'm sure you're going to see this information again. So the main thing that our Attendance Improvement Plus package has is it is a school-based feature that can be customized at the school level. The attendance dashboard is the primary place where you're going to get your information. That has, at the top, you'll see these targeted views where your attendance that is being synced regularly with your student information system, sending the information to Talking Points. So you could see these targeted views. At the top, you'll see 3 cards that have to do with today's absences. So this is making it very easy to say who's absent today. Are they unexcused? Are they excused? And then taking action on that. You can also create your own customized targeted groups of students. We're calling these views. You can, as you can see on the screen there, say the number of absences you want. I know that every school and every district has different protocols and thresholds for when they communicate with families. This customization allows you to put that right at your fingertips. So once you do that, those views will be in your dashboard. And when you click on those views, the student list will be populated below. Now, this is a great point to take action. Just like any Talking Points place where you have a list of students, you have 2 options here. You can download that list, or you can send a message directly from within the product. And that just like all Talking Points messages, you have all of the message enhancement features available to you. I will note that if you have Admin Family Connect, this includes audio and video. So imagine sending a targeted attendance message that includes a video or audio to your family saying, hey, we're missing your students. Notice the merge fields. We're missing Simone. We'd love to see him in school. Sorry, Simone. We also have attendance trends, which is a visualization of what is happening with your students. This attendance trends can be narrowed down by time, as you can see at the top, the time frame there. This is really going to help your staff take action on those and see what are the trends over the entire school year or the last week and things like that. We, more excitingly, have automated daily absence messages. This is a way to take action every single day with students who are missing. We've heard from partners about just the idea of understanding the difference between an unexcused and an excused absence. And by doing this right within Talking Points, our partners are telling they're getting more responses from families. Oh, I didn't know that you needed an excuse or a message about this. So sending a message out about, hey, your student's missing, we don't know why, let us know, really, really helps to improve attendance. With these automated daily messages, you can choose who you're sending it out to. A lot of our partners right now are just our pilot partners, I should mention, are sending it out to unexcused without a reason, which allows then the families to respond back. So as you can see, you can set your daily message time and send those out. We also are taking our attendance messaging series, which is research-based messaging. You may have seen some of this in your school accounts right now. This is moving into Attendance Improvement Plus, making it very easy to send out these targeted, positively framed messages to families. These messages are intended for everyone, not just those who are struggling with attendance, but they're really intended for everyone. And from right within the platform, you can schedule, set it and forget it, like our team likes to say, those messages. Last and certainly not least is a attendance inbox dedicated to everything attendance. So any messages you're sending out, the responses are going to come to this one place. Attendance clerks, I can hear you screaming for joy around this. So the attendance inbox will operate just like any other messaging inbox. When you go to send a message, this is a new feature that we don't have to switch sites or switch roles or anything. It's right within the messaging modal there. You can select who the message is coming from. So if you have school admin, you can send it from the school. You will always be able to send it from yourself. If you have attendance, the attendance role, you can send it from the attendance clerk. So that makes it very easy to send these messages out. I hope that was really quick and short. I know we have just a few minutes left for that. I'm going to turn it back over to Simone to wrap this up.
All right, I know we're going to start some Q&A in just a little bit, but I thought it would be important to highlight some of the new features that you're going to see outside of the teacher role. One thing that we're excited about is for school admins or somebody who has a custom school admin role, you're going to be able to select who the sender is when you send a message. So are you guys able to see my screen? Okay.
Oh,
here under select sender, I can choose for it to be from the school or from my personal account. Currently, what you have to do is if you want it to come from your personal account, you would need to have a non-rostered or teacher role assigned and you would switch modes. Now you can do it all within the admin. And what this is also going to do is it's going to determine where the response comes from. So sometimes as an admin team, you might have somebody who's in charge of attendance and somebody who's in charge of behavior, and you want the responses to come back to you rather than the entire admin inbox. If I were to say that I want this to be sent from Mr. Silva, and I send this to families, the responses will come back to my personal inbox. So this is a new feature that will be available to you next year. And it's really going to help you to manage where responses go and what families see who's messaging them. So now instead of all of them feeding into one inbox, you can start to decide where they're going to go. The other thing that I want to show you that will be available is staff announcements. So as a school admin or district admin, when you're sending an announcement to all of your families, you can also say that you want this announcement to also go to staff in the platform. So staff will get a badge in TalkingPoints that will show them the announcement that you wanted them to be included in. And the last thing that I want to show you, and this is included in staff announcements, is you can initiate that you want it to go to a co-teacher in TalkingPoints. So if you have a staff member who you both are assigned to a class or a group, you can say, hey, I want this to go to families and I want my co-teacher to see a badge in the platform that this message was delivered or was sent to families. This is the last thing that I wanted to show you was district groups. So for my district admins in here, you can build groups at the district level and share them with staff members at the school site. So if we have somebody who's a district personnel that's at several schools, you need to have two-way communication. We can build groups out at the district level and then share them with the appropriate staff. All right, time for some Q&A. Emma and Rob and April, I wanted to ask, are there any questions that came up in the chat in the Q&A that we want to highlight? Anything that you would think it would be worth revisiting?
There is a lot of love in the chat for the calendar feature, which we're so excited about. Simone, a common question is about if the calendar feature is available at just teacher and non-rostered staff accounts, or is it also available at the school admin level?
And I believe the first release is just teacher, but that we're working to eventually release like a school calendar ability at the school level.
And if you are a school admin and you're like, I would like to use this feature, the other opportunity for you would be to grant yourself non-rostered staff access so that you would have this feature at that level as well. And Simone, one other question is just about cost. Which features are included in my subscription? Which ones are an add-on?
Great question. And I always like to add that when we're thinking about best practices, our foundations, right? So you're going to see included in your foundations contract, quick Kudos, Checkins, and for next year, our academic support. Those will be part of the foundation. Emma?
And calendar.
And calendar.
Simone, there was a few questions about the timing of when these will become available for schools and districts.
I'm always reluctant to give you an exact date because I don't want you guys to be disappointed, but we're really hoping for a release at the end of June, July, knowing that you want to get your stuff ready and going for back to school, which in New Mexico, back to school really is like end of July, early August. So we know that having it ready for you in the summer is important.
One other piece I'll add is that we will also be providing some resources to accompany these features, right? So when you're thinking about how do I share these with my staff, how do I use these, that is coming too.
Emma, to come back to our start of this, universal family engagement. One thing I want to stress to everybody is we know that you're not going to have access to these new features until the summer. But one important thing to start thinking about is how can you start building that relationship now to get your families prepared for next school year? So I know you may not have the same families, but if you start engaging with them now and your district is using Talking Points, then you're setting them up for success in the platform to dive right into building that relationship with their new teacher. So a lot of things that you can start doing is starting to build those strong relationships, getting them used to engaging with you, and using Talking Points as a tool to help support their students.
Excellent. And just for everyone's benefit, I did drop a few links into the chat. I know the chat flies quick, so they're in there with a web page that we have that kind of do a little explanation of all these features. There are a couple nice video overviews. Some people have asked for video overviews for training. These are a little more just a introduction. So if you want to share with your colleagues or pass around, I've also attached a one-page PDF in there that highlights these features if you prefer a good old-fashioned hard copy-ish. All right, I don't know if there's more questions.
There's a great question from Anna. Guidelines, handouts for staff about language they should use when creating messages. Right now, built into the platform, we would really just suggest Message Mentor. Message Mentor is a fantastic tool. It has all of those best practices on the behind the scenes of Message Mentor. It's going to write for understanding. It's going to write at a, I think it's like a 5th grade reading level. It's going to, I think Simone mentioned this before, it's going to, use the student's name. It's grounded in that partnership. So that is the easiest way of incorporating that right away.
Great. Excellent. And perhaps it would be, should we put the partner success team's email in the chat just in case anyone wants to get back in touch? There are many good questions and people seem excited, which is great.
If you know your partner success manager, you are welcome to reach out directly to them. If you don't know your partner success manager, we will help you find them. So partners@talkingpts.org, I just put it in the chat, is for you to use, and we will help get you to the right person.
Excellent.
We are so
Yes.
grateful for you all joining us today. We saw so many familiar faces, and we're really happy as most of your partner success team to be seeing so many partners here represented. Thank you for engaging with us in this, and we're really hopeful that these features resonate with you because so many of them came directly from your feedback. So we're really excited to get them in your hands this summer.
Yes, thank you all for attending. And as a reminder, you will get the recording and you will get the slides hopefully by the end of this week. So thank you again for attending and the engagement in the chat. Have a good
Thanks, everyone.
rest of your day.
Bye.